So just a quick video on the VFR1200 as a used buy. There's plenty of information out there on the internet about buying them new, when they were new of course, and a few videos about owning the bike from new. So what I'd like to do is just give you a quick talk about the ownership of a used VFR. I bought it in 2020 July, so it's coming up to a year now. I've managed to get 4,000 miles on it, which isn't bad due to lockdown. So I just want to talk about the things that I thought the bike would be like and what it actually is like. Looks are quite subjective of course, and you either like the look of it or you don't. Some angles it looks a bit awkward, that front end there. I've heard it described as a snub-nosed dolphin, I think. But I quite like the way it's nice and slim in the centre there. I quite like the back end. Not so much with the rack on. I've actually preferred it with the top box on. If it hasn't got the rack, it's just got the grab rails, it actually looks a bit better, I think. So what's it been like? So it's 16,000 miles on it when I got it, and I've got about just over 20,000 miles on it at the moment. The bike was serviced very well by its previous owners. It's had two owners, but cosmetically I think it had been used in the rain a lot and not really looked after or wiped down after it had been wet. So I've spent a bit of time in the winter cleaning up the discs a little bit. I've cleaned up the ABS ring, resprayed it. It should be black really. I've cleaned up some of the nuts and bolts, sometimes just with a rubbing block and then a bit of lacquer, but it's looking a bit better. Fortunately the downpipes are stainless steel. They were very tatty, but I've polished them up now and they look quite nice. The rear shock was in a hell of a state really. I can't show you what it was like, but I've worked on it, and it's, if I can get the camera in there, it's looking a little bit tidier. The preload adjuster was seized, as is a common fault. I worked on it with some WD-40 and I've managed to get it free, although it's still quite stiff. It's moving there. And a few like nuts and bolts, like the rear caliper bolt I've cleaned and sprayed up. The disc bolts I've tidied up a little bit. But generally it didn't take too much to get it looking nice again. So I'm quite pleased with the way it looks at the moment. I used some like acid cleaner on those disc hangers there to brighten them up a little bit. So how does it compare to what I thought it would be like, and what it actually is like, my opinion? Okay, it is a heavy bike, but I really only notice it when I'm moving it in and out of the garage. Quite heavy to get onto the centre stand, but I'm only 11 stone, not a big chap, so it's a bit tough. I've covered the number plate by the way, because somebody will tell me it'll get cloned or something, but what have you. The weight when you're moving, only if I'm doing a U-turn on a sort of gravelly car park do I get a little bit nervous, but otherwise once it's moving I really don't notice it at all. Comfort wise, I would say it's not quite as good as I thought. It's got bar risers fitted to it, as you can see, but it still feels a little bit wristy, and with the bar risers, when you're on full lock to your right, it just gets close to this mirror a little bit. However, once you're moving over say 40, 50, it's a lovely riding position. It really is nice, and I really would think it's perhaps the best type of position for high-speed motoring. That seat that they redesigned in 2012 with a bit of a texture on it, I don't know if you can see that, sorry if you can't. It's still slippy, so when you put the power on, and it's got power, it does push you back along that seat a wee bit. However, although I say it isn't that comfortable, it's very comforting. So the bike seems to shield you from a lot. The wind protection is quite good. Your helmet gets it, that's why I've put that cheap screen on. But in bad weather, cold, the heated grips help of course, but in bad weather it just seems to protect you from the elements. I don't know, it's a very nice feeling. I do a run back from Whitby on a Thursday night, fish and chip night, back over the moors. It's often cold, you're often into a headwind, and quite honestly this just feels lovely. It just batters into any headwind and is very comforting rather than supremely comfortable, should I say. Handling wise, yeah, it's big. It's not a sports bike, sports tourer, but it is sporty. I think it handles really well. Some people say it turns quite slowly, but for a sports tourer, I think it turns pretty briskly, to be honest. And when you're pushing on a bit, it is very secure. I like it, you know. I think it definitely though is a sporty sports tourer. Forks are a little soft, but I like soft riding bikes. And when I say they're soft, I've got the preload backed off a little bit at the moment, which sort of means that the forks dive a lot more. You can see I've got a tie wrap on the fork there. I'm just at the moment still playing with it to see if I can get an optimum level. But those forks do compress a fair bit on the brakes. I'll come back to the brakes later. But the rear shock, I haven't noticed any difference to my other bikes really on whether it's too wallowy or squishy. The shock was in a terrible state actually, as I said before, but it seems to work quite well. I like them soft. I think it was because I was brought up on 70s bikes, so I like that soft riding feel. Mirrors are very good, yeah, and I love the just the shape of them and the design. You've got a adjuster there. I just think they're very solid looking. Right hand mirror really clear. Left hand mirror around about 2000 revs, 30,000, just has a little bit of a vibration in it. Love the built-in indicators and the daytime running lights on this edge here. Let's get to the engine then. Yeah, engine. Somebody once described it in a magazine as a great engine depending on which side of 4000 revs you are. I know what they mean. It is soft at the bottom end. It's 2012. It's had an ECU tweak in 2012. Mine's got a power commander fitted by the previous owner, so I don't know what effect that has because I haven't ridden it without the power commander on. But quite honestly, at low revs, yeah, it's a bit mild, but hey, if you're at low revs, then is that a bad thing? I don't know. But once you get above that, 4000, between 4 and 6, beautiful mid-range. It's absolutely stunning, I think, and it sounds lovely. I know it's got standard exhaust on. I find aftermarket exhausts are good for showing off to bystanders and what have you. And when you rev it at a standstill, it doesn't sound a lot, but when you're moving with earplugs in, that airbox roar is superb. Yeah, it really sounds rich and bassy. I love it. And then out of the mid-range, 6 to 10, it's a flyer. Yeah, no doubt about it. It's like a fat fire blade. That's how I'd put it. Really good. Fuel consumption, I saw tests between 38 and 42, and I think I've got, what have I got at the moment? Let's have a look. My last trip, I've got it on 9.2. I think that's over 9.4 over 71 miles and over 408 miles. 9.2 there over 408. And my last trip out, 9.4 over 71 miles, if you can see that. So that's round about 43 miles per gallon, because it shows it in litres per 100 mile, I think it shows it as. So it's not bad at all. What else can I say about it? Ownership wise, I think I expected it to be a 9 out of 10 bike, and I would say it's there or thereabouts. I'm going to be generous. I think I'll take it as a 9.1. When I first got the bike and rode it on, there was a cold day. I'd have put it 8.5, but it's one of those you have to live with, and you appreciate just the quality of the thing, the way everything sort of like clicks together, the switches, even things like the footrest, beautiful footrest, just the click. Little things like that, just, I don't know, they just make you feel good about the bike. Oh, just to mention this, the switch for the indicators and the horn being the wrong way around, but quite honestly, it's handy. You just thumb faults to it. I don't find an issue with that. So overall, does the VFR1200 make a good used bike? Well, in my opinion, yep, it really does. Thanks for watching. Hope I haven't bored you too much.